Hey,
G'day,
Craig.
Daniel.
How you doing?
Yeah, good mate.
Good to meet you.
It's a good spot here.
It's pretty nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
we're pretty lucky. So.
3 years ago, I met Daniel and Kelly just as they began their off-grid journey, fresh on the land and knee-deep in renovating their house bus. Since then, a lot has changed. It's easy to get swept up in what's next and forget to celebrate how far you've actually come. Today, I'm back and you won't believe the progress they've made.
Craig,
Dan,
how are you?
Kelly.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
I'm good. Nice to see you too.
Lovely to see
Hi,
you.
Kelly.
Hi. Hi.
Gosh, this has changed.
Yeah. We've been working hard. I'm Dan.
I'm Kelly, and we live off grid. Welcome back.
Yeah, I think the changes since your last visit in terms of how we live are really down to how life has become a bit more luxurious, which sounds kind of
Comfortable.
ridiculous.
A lot more comfortable, yeah. Having the shower outside, toilet outside. We've sorted a lot in the baths. We've got the veggies now running really well. I used to cook outside in the winter, and that was quite challenging sometimes. The wind and the rain. So cooking inside is a big pleasure.
Like having more outdoor space. If you're going to live in a place, you know, a bus is like 2.5 meters wide. It's not a massive amount of space, 10 meters long. So having a deck, we've kind of like
Yeah, we feel like we've
doubled.
got more living space.
Yeah, so another big news is that we're having a baby, and that's going to be a kind of a whole new fun adventure.
Yes.
But yeah, I guess how that is going to fit into our lifestyle and how it's going to fit into living here. Is there enough space in the bus? Will we be all right with the amount of like washing and nappies and...
Yeah, the washing machine will be on more.
Yeah.
And yeah, the baby will be surrounded by nature, which I think is a beautiful thing to offer for another person.
You got a hot tub outside.
Yeah, I got this at the dump. When I first brought it back from the dump, I thought, oh, this is perfect. And I put a fire underneath it. I used to sit in that, and it was okay. But you end up with a bit of a hot spot in the middle, and you get a bit of smoke around your face. And so I bought that, which is awesome. You know, you just load it with wood, heats up the water. You don't have to think about it too much, and the smoke comes out the top. It's, really nice product.
It's Spiralock. We went and saw them at their factory.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
great guys. So
Yeah.
it's neat that you've got one.
It's a really, really easy system.
I noticed the deck's bigger.
Yeah, we brought this out a bit and then brought the roof out as well, and we just found that we were spending more and more time out here. Once we got the roof on there, we end up using it year round, and when you've got a nice day out in the winter, it's lovely just to sit out there and have a little bit of shelter.
Yeah.
But we're also able to catch a bit more water, so we've put a larger water tank in.
Oh
And then
yeah, I see that.
Yeah, so we're running everything. It kind of goes underground from here, and then we've got a large 25,000 litre water tank out there. We've got loads of water now.
We used to have the bathroom in the bus last time you guys were here. Dan's built an outhouse, so we've got a separate bathroom, which is lovely.
The bus came with a kind of fiberglass built-in bathroom. So when we had that, I demoed pretty much the rest of the bus, but I left the bathroom. I thought, oh yeah, this has got to be useful. But the reality is, if you've got a bus and you're driving on the road, you want to keep that, right? You want to keep your bathroom. But if you're not driving, it's actually so much nicer to have some outdoor
Outside,
space.
yeah.
And so we've got a shower that is fully outdoors, but it's got like 3 walls on it, which means that you're completely protected from the wind. You've got a view out over onto the water, and it's just, it's awesome. It's like,
Yeah, the shower is really beautiful to use, you know, the view from the shower, and now the bathroom in there is a wardrobe, which is a better use of the space.
So tell me, what do you get here that you couldn't find anywhere else?
It's a good question. I think this is literally paradise, you know, it really is. And I think everyone's got their own version of that, of what they would like to do. But honestly, it just works for me. I love New Zealand. I love the country. I love the coast, and I love this land. And I'm just like enormously fortunate to be here. And you know, I never take it for granted. And I hope that I'll always sort of continue to feel that way.
Off-grid living to me means freedom. Freedom to explore the outdoors more, spend less money, work less, because you don't need as much when you live like this. If you want to build something, you build it yourself. You want to grow food, you grow it yourself. You're not going to the supermarket all the time. You've got solar for your power and water from the sky.
Our lives are pretty simple. It follows a pretty basic routine. We kind of get up really early. We don't have any curtains in the bus, so we're up at sunrise. We go to the beach. I surf. Kelly walks, although not so much now that she's pregnant, but used to walk a lot. And then we'll go and get a coffee.
Yeah.
And then we get back here and just kind of get on with our day.
Yeah, I take care of all the meal planning and running a business. Dan also helps me run the business at the moment with this going on. And he does a lot of the projects, building and tending to the garden. In the weekend, we just go to the beach a lot. Yeah, that's kind of our life.
Yeah. You know, for most people who live in the suburbs, they have a large house with a very small garden area. And so they're inevitably going to spend a lot of time working on their house and a little bit in the garden. We've got the other way round. We've got lots of garden and only a little bit of living area. And so it is a bit of maintenance, you know. Does the lawns
Yeah, you do more physical work outside.
Yeah,
but that's got to be healthy. You love to be outside being physical all day.
Yeah, if that's not a buzz for you, then don't do it, man.
Yeah, yeah, you want to be outside.
Yeah. I think there's a real pleasure in working hard in the day, and you get to that point at the end of the day where you're physically quite tired. Usually we've surfed and walked and then built something, and then maybe you've had to cut down a tree and you bring the wood up, and by the time it gets to sort of 5, 6 o'clock, you're physically, you're done. You want to have a shower and you want to sit down and relax. And I love living like that. You know, I really love that. The idea of having a kind of comfortable life where I don't do any of that and instead I sit it's just
that brings its own problems.
Yeah. So this is a kind of, I don't know what you'd call it. Just a lot of fruit trees. We've got a little apple there. They're doing all right. You know, I planted these like early on. I think that's the thing. As soon as you've got your property, a lot of fruit trees take time. You know, even the fastest fruit trees, you're looking at 3 years before you get fruit. So I got them in super early just so we could get as much fruit as we can. And then before that, I also wanted to have a bit of a shelter belt. You know, when the wind gets up here on the west coast, it kind of dries the land and everything grows a lot slower with that wind. So this is why I planted these pittosporums, but I'll eventually kind of add to them, so there'll be like a layer of pittosporums and then another layer, and then I've got a few olive trees, and all of those things are just trying to like take a little bit of a sting out of the wind.
Yeah, that's a good tip.
Our lifestyle has changed pretty significantly from the life we lived in London. My career has always been the centre of my world, I suppose. It no longer is, and like neither of those things are necessarily like good or bad. I mean, I really loved my career. The downsides of it was just a lot of foreign travel, so I missed out on a lot of things. And now
you don't miss out.
Like, I don't even like leaving the land. We don't go anywhere, and yeah, I'm just very happy with the way that is.
Yeah. I have my own businesses in London, and I used to feel that I had to work 40 hours a week. I needed to smash my goals. I needed to level up and really get going with my career, and now I just love my work. I recently did my real estate exams, and we run our own small business sales brokerage, selling businesses online. We're not paying out for the mortgage, so I work when I want to work, and I love what I do.
We're not completely without drive. It's not like we're bums or anything like that. We do stuff. We're always busy, but we're busy with things that we choose to do rather than waiting for somebody on the other end of a phone to decide what we're doing.
Yeah.
In terms of our daily life, it was always fairly career focused. Your worlds are almost like bifurcated. On the one hand you have work, and on the other hand you have leisure. These two very separate places. Here, those two things are one.
Yeah.
We don't think like, oh, I'm gardening. Is this leisure or is this work? I'm chopping down a tree to make firewood.
Yeah.
Is that leisure or it's just all the same thing?
Yeah, I mean, at times I would take like a 3-hour walk on the beach, but I'd be working on my business just on my phone here. In England, I'd be stuck inside in the cold at a desk. So that's been it's been a really nice change for me.
Yeah. It's funny, when you think about the economics of doing this, it's actually a little bit tricky to answer, which sounds strange, right? Because if you live in a house, people will know exactly what they paid for their house, exactly what their mortgage costs. But doing this, you don't really tend to spend on everything right at the start. You do it in small incremental stages. So we started with the bus only. That was like 19k, which was a lot actually. I mean, you
Yeah,
can
we
buy,
could have paid less.
and we bought a really expensive container. That was, funnily enough, that was also 19 grand. You compare that to, say, a garage and a house where you've had to level the ground, put in the concrete, and so on and so on. I mean, just to get a floor for a garage is going to cost you probably more than 19 grand. Those gave us two large areas. One area to store things in and to do kind of like woodworking projects, and then an area to live. So those two numbers gave us that. And then, yeah, there's the solar kit. And then the rest of it really is just odds and ends, like going to a woodyard and buying timber and buying roofing materials. We don't have any bills. You
No
know?
bills.
I mean, we pay
We
a
check the
small-
mailbox every day, there's nothing there,
There's never anything in it.
which is great.
I mean, council tax on the land, that's it.
Yeah, but that's not much.
An occasional gas bottle. We sound really smug. We don't mean to.
Look at us.
Getting rid of all of those bills has meant that it gives you more mental freedom to think like, should I do this? Should it, you know? So if you want to do something slightly unusual, like set up your own business, or
Yeah,
do
you
something,
can take more
can.
risks when you live like this.
Yeah,
Yeah, because you don't have the bills to think about, the mortgage. You
Yeah.
have more freedom to take risks.
I feel sort of like infinitely wealthy, which sounds
Yes.
ludicrous
Yeah, I
we
feel very rich.
Yeah.
We don't have much cash and all that, but we are rich.
It's sort of not wanting. That's a big part of it, isn't it? Like, I don't want anything else really. I don't think.
No.
Okay, so in terms of advice that I would give someone looking at going off grid, I would say that all of the things for me that I thought were going to be a major concern turned out not to be a major concern. There's no kind of like right way to do it. I think there are certain things that certain people feel that they can't live without. Well, then don't live without that. You know, get the thing that you really like and make sure that that's a part of your life, and that happens. Yeah, there's nothing that can't be done. It's just a question of what are the things that are important to you.
Yeah, you don't have to do everything overnight. You can
No.
build slowly, and I've never looked back. I think it's the best thing we've ever done.
Yeah.
So last time I was here, this garden was out the other side.
Yeah, I set it up there, and it was going okay for the first year, and then after about, I don't know, after about 2 years, the trees realised there was a lot of nutrients in that, so they're sending out a lot of roots, and I just couldn't keep up with the watering, you know. It just got dry, all the nutrients just kind of went out of it, and the food got smaller and smaller and smaller. So I just thought, let's start again. So we moved the whole thing over here, which was a bit of work, but
How long did that take? Because you were proud of that garden, I remember.
yeah, it took a while. I didn't do it in one hit. It was a lot of wheelbarrows. And then I put some new compost down, a bit more wood chip, and now this garden is really, really cranking.
Yeah.
So we've got mountains of produce now, haven't we?
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
So cutting back on grocery bills now.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. That's been a big
it's
one.
a big bonus for us, living this way,
Yeah. There's a big difference, hey. We've got the freezer, we've got a quarter of a cow in the freezer, we've got
Veggies.
loads of veggies here, we've got fruit off the trees.
Yeah.
Chickens are laying eggs.
We've got a bread maker.
Yeah, we're making bread. Yeah, we're like that. The grocery bills are not significant.
Yeah,
that
having
much.
chickens is amazing. We just got them recently.
Yeah, that's a good change. That's something that's happened.
that's a big
awesome,
change.
man. It's
That's a big
so
change.
cool having chickens.
We love the chickens.
Yeah, weird little characters.
Yeah. Now we can't eat chicken though.
No.
What do you
Hello.
reckon? What do you reckon, Doreen?
Yeah, it's Doreen.
We've named our chickens after our grandmothers who have passed away. This one is Doreen. And then we've got Joan and Barbara around here somewhere. Oh, everyone needs chickens.
How much work does it take for you to get enough food to put on the table?
Do you know
from it?
what? It doesn't take that much work because I keep things really, really simple. So
Yeah.
all this is cardboard over the top of grass.
Yep.
And there's compost, which I put down every year, and there's wood chip around the edges. No digging. And that means you're not disturbing the soil, you're not getting loads of new kind of like weeds coming through. So it's pretty low maintenance.
Yeah.
Every time I'm harvesting something, I'll pull out a few little odds and ends of grass that are coming through, but it's pretty low maintenance.
And you get enough produce out of it to live off for the year?
We get enough food that we can eat from it, and we also, I mean, inevitably you end up getting too much, right? You only want so many cucumbers, but luckily we're on the edge of a small town, which means that we can take those cucumbers or courgettes or whatever we've got and we swap it with people. So we give it away and then maybe we take back a jar of marmalade or whatever it is. That keeps our food bills down quite a bit.
Love it. How much enjoyment do you get out of working in your garden?
Do you know, I get a lot of enjoyment from knowing that we're kind of like just looking after ourselves, like providing for ourselves, I guess. I don't know, we're not like reliant on the shops. If the shops shut tomorrow, not they're going to be, if the shops shut tomorrow, that's okay. You know, we've still got food at least to sort of survive a bit. I just feel like it's kind of like an ongoing journey, right? Like the feeling of what it's like to just do something for yourself. So I bought my solar setup from GridFree 3 years ago, and it's been kind of amazing. I mean, it just sits inside that box. I never open up the box. I never know what's going on, and I don't need to know what's going on because there's plenty of power being generated. I think one of the cool things about GridFree is obviously you can go off by yourself and you can source random bits of equipment from wherever you want. The issue is, if something goes wrong with that gear, is there anyone that you can call? Someone that isn't in China, for example. And so when I moved my kit, I called up GridFree, and they at this point, it wasn't GridFree's responsibility. I bought that kit like pretty much 3 years ago, so if they'd have just not answered the phone, that would have been okay. But actually, they were like massively helpful and massively enthusiastic about it. I had several conversations. I think in the beginning, I didn't know what to get. So I'm like, oh, I don't know, do I get this one or do I get this one? They weren't trying to upsell me. They weren't trying to give me something that was more than I wanted. They just wanted for me to have something that's going to work for me. And I thought that was nice.
I really appreciate talking to customers and getting that positive feedback, and it's been great coming here to talk to you about it.
I think it's cool, and I really like what you're doing, you know, on YouTube, and you're going around there and you're interacting with the people that have bought your kit. So you sort of, it's not like you're selling a product and then you've got no idea. You know exactly what that does at the other end of it. You know, the power line actually runs up this road. And yet
how much did they quote to do that? Yeah,
so the people were unwilling to actually give us a quote.
Yeah.
So we phoned up the power company and, oh, well, we wouldn't know. Well, they said, give me $1,000 and we'll come round and give you a quote. And I said, well, the power line's right there, just on the other side of the road. Oh, yeah, well. Eventually I got a rough estimate off an electrician, and he reckoned in the sort of 20 grand range. And I thought, well, yeah, I could either give the power company 20 grand or I could just spend 20 grand and then never pay for a power bill ever again. That sounds
like a better option.
Yeah.
I've always noticed too that you're a busy guy. You always seem to have a lot of projects on the go and a lot of projects outside, and I think off-grid life for you has been good in the sense that you can do a lot of that stuff that you've always wanted to do.
Yeah, I like that. I like kind of doing things. I like being active and being outside. The kind of physical aspect of it I find quite interesting. I mean, this property's weird, and a lot of properties are like this in New Zealand where you're on a steep slope. The way this is set up, it's flat land up here, and down there is where all the trees are. And so if you get a storm and one of those trees comes down, that's a lot of wood. And if you want to burn it, you know, is that sensible? You know, would it be cheaper for me to, like, I don't know, just buy a bottle of gas and power things that way? You know, maybe. But I like the physical aspect of it. I like getting a chainsaw and going down there, chopping it up and then carrying it up here. It's physically exhausting, it really is. It's like completely, as you know yourself, you know, it's physically tiring, but it's also like rewarding. You know, you look at that pile of wood almost like money in the bank. There's a pleasure, you know, it's only a small bus, that's my winter done. You know, when you get enough wood and you go, that's it, I'm warm and dry. That's cool, man. It's a nice, you know, it's a nice feeling.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. I can never imagine leaving this land.
Never. We don't want to go back to living in a house. My favourite feature of this place is just being with Dan all the time, because he doesn't have to work anymore.
Ah, that's a kind thing to say.
Yeah.
Got me in your face all the time.
Yeah, I love that.
I would often go away on shoots, and although I was enjoying the shoot, there was a purpose behind it, and the purpose was to generate cash, to be able to do something that's fun. Whereas now, we're just living life. I'm not trying to go on holiday or anything like that, you know. This is our holiday.
This is our holiday. We always feel like we're on holiday.